Just press record.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Uh,
You've been having fun at the beach?
yes, I love the beach. That's my thing. The ocean and the beach and the warm sun. I love the way it feels.
Yes, same here. I do love that too. And I've been manifesting that I go live by the beach somewhere. So let's see what happens.
Yeah,
But
sounds great.
tell me about what you've been up to.
Yeah, I mean, I got the YouTube channel, so I've been talking a lot about self-realization, and lately on my YouTube channel, I've been talking a lot how infinite consciousness and infinite being. A lot more people are realizing their true self, and
Yes,
so it just seems like mass consciousness, like more and more people are waking up, and they're doing it more instantaneously than before. Have
yep.
you noticed that too?
I have, yes.
It just seems like it's entering like mass consciousness now. Like more and more people that are waking up, they don't really have to go through like all this long, drawn out thing. Sometimes it could just be as simple as, you're the infinite being
Hmm.
having a human experience. I mean, that's kind of like the way it went for me.
Yeah,
And it's just something in me just, woke me up to that.
yeah,
Because you know how it is. Like previous to that, we're so identified with our bodies and food and our mind and our me and my story. We're so identified with that.
yes,
And then what happens is, you hear something like you're the infinite being having a human experience, and it's like, wow, that's my true nature.
yes,
I'm the infinite being, and living here as a human, this is just an experience that comes and goes. But it
yes,
just seems like more and more people are waking up to that.
yeah, yeah. And
Have you
finding
noticed that? Go ahead.
finding that place of stability, the silent, the quiet place, which is the infinite being, and
Yes.
everything else is just, coming and going. Like you said, that's not it. It's this. You can
Yeah, it's like the
experience
permanent.
that. Yes, this is
Yeah,
the
because you
permanent.
can't be that which comes and goes.
Yes,
You see everything's coming and going, like the manifestation.
yes,
The content, everything we see is coming and going, and then in our ears we listen, and different sounds are coming and going. But what remains is the permanent,
yes.
right? The
Mhm.
awareness that's permanent, the infinite space, the open space of awareness, like you said, the silent. It's silent because it's impersonal. I think
Yeah,
what happens is some people, like I know I've been talking to, they take it personal. Like you really have to understand it's impersonal. It's the silence. It's the background. It's not that it's you, like the me and my story, person that's becoming the infinite being. It's not that. It's the silent one that's the
that's
infinite
right.
being. A lot of people get caught up in understanding it's not the person,
Yep.
but it's impersonal. So it's really key to understand that. I found that some people get tripped up on that
Yeah,
because
that's what
it's
I
really
found
you're
as
the
well.
infinite being, but it's impersonal.
Yeah, I found that people get
You
tripped
got
up
caught up
on
on
that
that?
as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
When I
I mean, I
was
kind of
coming,
did in the beginning a little bit too, because you're
yeah,
thinking, oh, here's an awareness here and there's awareness there. But the awareness we're talking about is the infinite being, the infinite awareness, the effortless being.
hmm,
It's not a person, it's impersonal. And
yeah,
everything is just taking place in this wide open, awake space that's here the whole time.
yes,
You
yes.
know?
What I've found lately is that I'm coming back to the art and everything that I was back in 2015 when it actually happened for me. I
Yeah.
actually came into this space, but there were a lot of distractions which were pulling me and disturbing me, and I just wanted to be in this silent space to hear the nudging
Yes.
of my soul and to hear the clear to get the clarity and to fall deeply into this space, because I knew there's two things going on here, and one is just distraction, and one was me, the infinite. And I've actually fallen right into that now fully, which is, it's taken me a while to actually come away from and understand all of that. So, yes, people are waking up, I agree, but they will also have to deal with a lot of the stuff that comes after that initial awakening, because it's not just that easy. And as you know, you've had integration as well afterwards, as have I. And It's wonderful though. It's just you're letting go of all this baggage that you don't need. You know,
Yeah, I noticed that too with the transformation of consciousness. It's kind of like before, like you're 2 years old, it's just like this wide open, awake space. And you're not so much, you're not thinking you're your thoughts, you're not thinking you're your feelings, your emotions. It's just everything's registering in this wide open, universal space of awareness. Then it seems like after the age of 2, we start identifying with this
hmm
I, this
yeah,
me and my story, and it kind of
yeah,
gets added onto it. And so you start identifying with it. But as you said, once you wake up to that and you identify and you realize you're the infinite being, you're the effortless being, that you're not this me and my story, you're not this separate person. There's no separation. It's just this wide open, impersonal,
yeah,
awake, loving, kind space. But then, like you said, there's that integration because now you've identified with your body, mind, and this me and my story. But now you're identifying with the infinite being. So
yeah,
now, how do you integrate that, right? Because
yeah,
now, like,
yeah,
there's this, you're going from identifying with the me and my story and this separate person, Rob, with his story, his likes and his dislikes. And now you've woken up, you're like, wait a second, my true nature is I'm the infinite being. I was always here. I've always been the infinite being. I've
mm,
always been effortless being. I've always been infinite consciousness. And
yeah,
I all this time I've been identifying with this story of
yep,
me and my story. So now there's this transition taking place now where I'm identifying with the infinite being. So like you were saying, there's that integration period where you're going from identifying with your body mind, this body of food and your mind made self, and now you're identifying with the infinite being, the effortless being. So
yes,
that's what you're talking about, is that
yes,
integration
yes.
back into
It's the
that.
integration. It is actually the letting go of that false identity that we took on through, religion, culture, family, whatever. So it's since the age of 2, like you said, which is absolutely correct. So then you go through the letting go of all of that. And I found the easiest way. Somebody asked me that just the other day, and I said the easiest way of letting all of that go. She said, "Why does it keep coming back? Why does it keep?" I said, "Well, the because you haven't let it go. When the letting go is seeing the gratitude in that experience. Once you see the gratitude of having that experience, it was showing you who you're not. If you see the gratitude in that and embrace it instead of going, that's not me, push it away. No, that doesn't actually happen. You're actually
Yeah.
avoiding, that's avoidance. And you don't want to avoid that because that was an experience you had as a human. And so I found that once you actually embrace it and say, yep, gratitude, thank you for showing me what I'm not. Because I had a very interesting contrast after I had my realization. So I actually had a contrast for me to actually really see, no, this is you. This is you. That is really what you're letting go of. And with gratitude, I could allow that to leave. So there's no there's no angst. There's no fighting anything. It's all happening. Like you said, it's all happening. And you can just be the silence and sit in that silent presence and the love that is you, that is us. Sit in that space and observe all of this. And there's no need to be, antagonistic, angry, push it aside, judgmental, any of that. It's like, ugh, all of that's just nonsense. It's nonsense. It's seen from this perspective of infinite love as being part of the whole experience.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of letting go and welcoming. Hale
Yeah.
Twaska, I don't know if you're familiar with him. He talks a lot about the Sedona method. That kind of helped me a lot too. And just
Okay.
once you realize your true nature as the infinite being, you kind of let go of your beliefs, because the beliefs that we have when we're identified with our body minds are very limited. But
Yeah.
as you know, the infinite being is unlimited. So there's
Yeah.
unlimited possibilities. You're an unlimited being. You were always here and you always will be. So you kind of got to let go of these limiting beliefs and these stories that you have about
Yeah.
yourself, and
Yeah.
this identity that you have about yourself as being so limited. Because in
Mm.
order for self-realization to take place, you really have to take on sovereignty, that you are the sovereign. A lot of
Yeah.
people have a hard time with that. Like when I talk, like you are the infinite being, you are sovereign. I
Yes.
mean, there's nobody that's better than anybody else. You're just like me. Like we're
Yes.
all the infinite being. There's no hierarchy or anything like that. I mean, if you're conscious, if you're awake, if you're being, can you stop being now? Of course not. You can't turn it off. So if you're beingness,
Yeah.
you qualify right there. You can be the sovereign. That doesn't need to stop you from
Yeah.
identifying with your true nature as the infinite being. I think sometimes our programming that's installed,
Yeah.
from our parents and through the world, we kind of subscribe to that, whether we realize it consciously or unconsciously. We have these programs of limitation, these beliefs that we have, these stories that we have, these emotions that we have, these feelings we have. We think our feelings, we think we're our emotions, we think we're our story,
Mhm.
but we're not. We're the infinite being. We're that which is aware of everything. And so we
Yeah.
just kind of got to, like you said, just let it go and then welcome it. I mean, the thoughts still come. I mean, I'm sure with you too. Thoughts still come. It's just that the difference now is I don't have to log into them. I don't have to believe them,
Yeah.
right? I don't have to believe every thought that comes. I'm not my thoughts.
Mm.
I'm the infinite being, right? I'm the impersonal, awake, beautiful, loving, kind space of
Yes.
peacefulness, of happiness, where
Yeah.
everything can come and go. It's all allowing. It
Yeah.
allows everything, and it's
That's right.
okay. And there's an okayness here, because
That,
what's happening in the manifestation, nothing can touch what you truly are. Nothing can touch the infinite being
yeah.
because it's impersonal. You
Yes.
see, it's not this body of flesh and this mind made self that where other things can attack it. We're not that. We're that which is
No.
aware of that. And I think that a peace comes with that. When you
Oh, yeah.
realize that there's a
There's
true
a
peace
there's a
that comes
very
with
deep
that.
peace. There's a very deep peace, and there's no need for, you see it so differently. You see everything so differently. Well, I did anyway, where
Yeah.
there's no need for protection, then there's no need for any of that. It's like, what are you protecting? You're just a thought. So, there's no need for any of that. It's only when I still identified with your form and your human form that you thought you were, that all of those things come in and say, I need protection and I need this and I need. It's like, no, you don't, no. All of that is part of the old story. It's like all of that just goes out the window because you're here present, always, always here present. Doesn't matter what form this, you know, comes in. That's not important. It's actually what's underlying all of this, what is here within all of it. You know,
Yeah, because the thoughts come and go, your
yeah,
feelings come and go, but that which remains is the silence, the
yeah,
effortless being. And there's no effort in just being. We're just being that naked truth alone of just beingness without adding anything to it. The mind likes to come in and separate it and analyze it and
mhm,
compare it, But when we recognize that we're the effortless being, that there's no effort required, we're just the open, impersonal space. We don't have to accept the thoughts that come in. We can
yeah,
just let them be there. Well, we can welcome them, put our arms around it, so to speak, and
yeah,
welcome them because we're all allowing as the effortless space, as
yes,
the effortless being. It's
yeah.
okay. And there's an okayness here.
There's an awareness of everything, even those thoughts, even those emotions. There's an awareness of all of that. That's who we are. That's the awareness that never changes, that never goes away. It's the awareness of everything, even the thoughts, even the feelings, even the emotions, even the whatevers that come and go. It's like you don't have to push anything off the cliff, so to speak. And another thing that I wanted to speak to you about is everything changes. My life has changed in such a way that where I was when it happened to me as a painter, I was painting intuitively, but I knew that it was just messages about what I was feeling and what I was going through. They were like some people channel messages and what have you. It's all you. There's nothing out there. There's nothing to
Right.
connect with.
It's within
It's
you.
all
Yeah.
it's all us. It's within us. So I'm actually um, come back to understanding and really feeling excited about sharing it with other people. The art and art
Yes.
classes and showing people that hey, you can do this. You don't have to be an artist, a professional artist. You can just do this. This is you. This is actually bringing out that part of you that you've never actually recognized before. and you could do it in music. You love music and dance. I mean, that's come through you because that's your authentic true nature, this joyous, beautiful being. And it comes in different
Yeah.
ways. What do you want to say
Yeah, I
about
think it's beautiful the way you expressed that, how it can come through art, come through music. I think it's beautiful that you're getting back. It seems like your intuition is leading you
that? Mm,
to do the art and to really bring out self-realization through the art. And of course, self-realization go through. Some of the art I look at that reminds me of self-realization and the infinite being and the effortless being is when you look at art and you see that stillness in it. Do you ever look at a piece of art and it just stills the mind? And there's
yeah,
just this stillness, and then you could easily recognize, your true nature as the effortless being, as
yeah,
the infinite being. When you have that silent stillness that's
yeah.
within you, you see it, it kind of, you resonate with it.
Yes, I
There's a
actually
resonation.
painted. Yeah, speaking of that stillness, I painted when I came back from America in 2019. I think I went for a trip around this time and came back, and I'd painted the ocean, but it was a bit turbulent. There was a bit of um, a turbulence in there, which I hadn't quite resolved the disturbance that I'd had, and so I noticed after that. Um, in 2020, I got the nudge to change it. It's done now. It's like change it.
Huh?
So I painted the ocean again, painted out the disturbance, and it's still. And it I was showing it to or referred it to David Bingham, and he said, "Well, that's you." I said, "Yes, I noticed that because I've been actually painting myself the whole time." And I hadn't, initially I didn't recognize it, but then I realized, yes, I've actually been painting me the whole time. So I was being painted.
I love that. I
Isn't
love
it?
that.
Isn't it amazing? I was actually being painted. So it's like, here you are, here you are. Like, see it. And so, yeah, it was just the stillness of the ocean.
Yeah, I
And
love the ocean. Like one of the favorite, like if you look at my YouTube channel, a lot of the videos I have, I'm like right by the ocean. I just love the ocean because when you
yeah.
look at it, if you feel that stillness that's within you, and it reminds you
Mm.
of your true nature
Hmm.
as the effortless, silent stillness that you are. It's the ocean is just beautiful. And a lot of people use that analogy of the ocean when it comes to
Yeah.
consciousness too. You can have the wave when you're experiencing,
Yes.
what it's like to be an individual or a person, and then
Yeah.
like, but it's still part of consciousness, but
Yes.
you are the infinite ocean, of consciousness that goes deep. So I mean, a lot of people, there's a lot of things that people use with the ocean, but the ocean is just, it is us. It's beautiful. And it brings out that stillness in it. So I'm so happy that you brought up the ocean because the ocean really resonates with me
It's a
deeply.
great analogy, isn't it, for it? A great
Yeah.
analogy for it. So it's like it's infinite, and
Mhm.
infinite possibilities lie there in that space. Everything is there in that space. All your abundance, all your possibilities, all your everything, the fullness of who we are is there. And it is so exciting in a way, but not the same way as the human was excited. This is like a very deep, safe feeling, a safe feeling of certainty, and this is it, and you have the choice at all times. Once you get to this place, you have the choice. The ego thinks it has the choice before and in the identified perspective and all of that, but it doesn't. This is the space that you have because there comes a point, and I've heard a few teachings where they say you don't have any free will and you don't have choice. Yes, you do actually. You do once you get here, but it's not from that human perspective. It is actually your being lived.
Yeah, when you're manifesting from effortless being,
Yeah.
it's just manifesting effortlessly. But as
Yes.
the infinite being, you have infinite possibilities. So you're sitting here as this wide open, infinite being,
Mm-hmm.
right? In this space where everything is coming and going, where the manifestation is coming and going. You can see that there's infinite realities that can take place, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that if you're going to believe, have a predominant thought about something, and you're going to really believe it, and you
Mm-hmm.
have that constant thought about it, it's going to manifest, right? So as the
Yeah.
effortless being, like you said, there is some choice there when you're coming from the perspective of the effortless being, of the infinite being.
Yes.
There's some choice there as to whether you want to go along and have that particular human experience. There is some choice involved because you can see all these different
You can,
unlimited realities
yeah,
that
you
you
can
can
see them.
experience. It's all laying there right before you, and you
Yes.
know how it works. Like if you're gonna dwell on that, if you're gonna constantly think about that particular thing, and you believe it's going to happen as the infinite being. We know that it's powerful, right? You're
Yeah.
powerful as the infinite being.
Yeah. And when it comes
Anything can
along,
manifest.
and when it
Yeah,
comes
it
along,
can come
okay,
right
there
along
it
and
is.
it manifests. Yeah,
Hop on that carpet and ride it. So,
yeah.
until
It's all effortless.
yeah. And so
Because from the person's perspective, the person is, when they're trying to manifest something, it's from a person's perspective, they're trying to do like all this action, and they're trying to control the manifestation through actions and different, like trying to control it. But from the perspective of the effortless being, from the infinite being, it's all happening naturally. It's like natural, effortless, no effort really required. It just kind of
mm,
pops in and manifests because
yes.
you're no longer, you've let go of all of those limiting beliefs. You've let go
Yeah.
of all those limited feelings. Like now you're unlimited. Like
Yeah.
what your true nature is the infinite being, and you know how manifestation works. It's all working effortlessly, and
Yeah.
there's infinite possibilities, and you
Yeah.
can see them all before you. So if you're gonna dwell on a particular thought or a feeling, and you really believe it, it's gonna manifest. It's law.
Yes.
I mean,
Because
it's
it's
just
all energy.
how it works.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
energy.
everything is energy.
It's energy.
Mhm.
And those, the paintings I put on yesterday, I'd actually done them earlier this year. I think it was earlier
Mhm.
this year or late last year. Anyway, it was a little while ago, a few months ago. And I'd done a series of it, and I didn't know what it was. So I just put them away. And then I got the nudge. No, now's the time to put it up there because it's actually in the space of understanding that everything is energy, all your opportunities and potentials are there, which is what that was. It's now you're beyond the veil. Once you're beyond the veil of identity and limitedness, you are in this space of where everything is and it's all energy, and you can play with anything as you wish, so to speak, which is what we were
Yeah,
just
and
talking.
what's interesting about energy is like energy attracts like energy. So once you know everything is energy and you
Mm,
have a like energy, it's gonna attract that. Like you think about the energy of appreciation, like you were talking earlier,
yes.
gratitude and
Mm,
appreciation. If you really appreciate, guess what's going to be reflected back in the manifestation? Things of
mhm.
appreciation is going to come into your life. You're
Yeah.
focusing on abundance and unlimited. That's what's going to manifest in your life. So everything is energy. It's taking shapes and sizes. It's coming and going. But like energy attracts like energy, and that's what's
Mhm.
manifesting.
Yes. So kindness and, all of those things
Mm-hmm.
are just the most, that's the energy of the infinite being anyway, kindness and openness
Yeah,
and
when you look at the attributes and you get curious about what the infinite being is, like, what are the attributes of the infinite being? You start getting curious about that. What is it really? It's impersonal. It's this beingness. It's all loving. It's all kind. It's all peaceful. It's all
mm,
allowing. You know, it's
mm,
it's all just right here, and it's all effortless. And when you get the attributes of it, you love it, because that's why people resonate with love. That's why people resonate with peace. That's why people resonate with kindness, because really that's our true nature. That's
yeah,
what lights us up. And do you ever notice, like, when negative emotions arise, it's usually because we're identifying, with our body, minds, or our limitations, or a negative emotion, right? Like, it's kind of trying to wake us up to say, hey, wait a
yeah,
second, something's not
yeah,
right here. We're not identifying with what we are, which
yes,
is the all loving infinite being, the
yeah,
all appreciative, the all, caring, kind, peaceful infinite being. Once we get off track from what we are, negative emotion comes in to wake us up. Hey, you're
yeah,
off kilter here. Like, you need to,
yeah,
like, wake up and break that identification with that
yes,
this body of food and this mind made me and my story, and remind yourself of what you truly are.
yeah,
And what's really funny about this whole conversation is we're always that anyway.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
always the infinite being, whether we're conscious of it or not. We
yeah,
are that. we're
yeah,
just we're just experiencing what it's like to be a human. And like you said, if you can take something away from the human experience that we're having and you appreciate it,
hmm,
and that's an indication that you've really let go. Because you were saying earlier, some of the people you're working with, that seems to keep coming back, right? When they're trying to integrate into sitting here as the infinite being, resting as the effortless being. But if you haven't let go of those limitations, if you haven't let go of those negative emotions, and sitting and resting as the effortless being, it can keep coming back. So it's
Yeah.
great to just let it go, to really let it go,
Yeah.
really let it go. Just let it
Really
go
letting
as the infinite being.
really letting it
Yeah,
go
really
is
let it go.
having gratitude for that experience. Have
Yes,
gratitude for that experience. If it was a contrast, it was a contrast. Recognize it.
yes,
And all of it actually is a contrast to your natural being,
yes.
in the human experience. Everything is a contrast to your natural state. Once you know your natural state, then you can see the difference. And it feels, because we have a body, um, it feels tight, it feels restricted, it feels yucky, it feels like you're hitting a brick wall. That's not it.
No,
you
it's almost
know
like you want to breathe it out. You just want to go and just let it all go
yeah,
and just
so
remain as the open, empty space.
those are the indications that you're off kilter, as you said. That's the indication you're off kilter. No, that's not it. No, that's
Yeah.
not it. Move on, leave that, let it go, breathe it out, whatever, and go back to your stillness, your infinite beingness. That you can feel within your being. You can feel that it is expansive, it is
Mhm.
limitless, it is all of those beautiful things that we spoke about.
Open, very open.
It is open. It's open.
Yes.
It's the ocean. It is vast and open. And that's your natural state. If there's anything that is imposing and trying to control you or manipulate or whatever, that's not it. That's actually not it. But also you can see things. It's really a perspective. It's really, and we have the ability, as still in physical form, we have the ability to shift our perspective, which is what I was saying, gratitude, whatever. You shift your perspective instead of being angry or frustrated or feeling like you're controlled or whatever. Shift your perspective.
Yeah.
Shift your perspective to one of gratitude or thanks, or I see that as I can have my freedom if I have that, if I actually go with that. Some people think it's being a controlling mechanism, but I don't see it that way. I actually see it as my freedom. Done. Done.
Yeah. When
That's
you
all that
identify,
it is.
yeah, it's beautiful what you're saying. When you see these negative emotions come up, you can just remind yourself, hey, I am the infinite being. I'm the effortless being.
Mhm.
That's my true nature. And I appreciate, knowing that, having that knowingness of realizing what my true nature is as the effortless being, as the infinite being. I'm so thankful for that. I mean, it helps
Yes,
me. I mean, I have infinite freedom. I have true freedom. I have true peace,
exactly.
everlasting peace that doesn't leave. It's always there in the background, no matter
Yeah,
what chaos is going on in the manifestation. And like you said, when you're coming from the perspective of the effortless being, it's a totally different perspective than what the
yeah.
world is, because it's unlimited, it's all allowing, it's all loving,
Hmm.
and nothing in the manifestation. It's nothing personal going on here. There's nothing really
Yeah,
serious going on. You're just the beautiful open space, and you welcome everything and you swallow everything up with
yeah,
infinite love, with
yeah,
unconditional love. There's no conditions required.
exactly.
Space, anything can come, anything can go. It's all allowing, and it's
Yeah.
beautiful, and it's unlimited love. I mean, that's one of the things you really learn, from the perspective of the infinite being, is there's no conditions that have to
Mhm.
be there for you to love.
Yeah,
You love everything because you are
yeah,
everything. Everything's within you, and it's
correct.
beautiful. And when you appreciate, like you said, you appreciate everything, it comes from within and bubbles out into the
Mm.
universe. I mean, it's
Hmm.
just beautiful when you come from that perspective and you appreciate, that you are the effortless being. It kind of it's like a wave that goes over everything that's negative. It kind of just washes it out, and it's fresh
Yes,
and it's
it's a
open and empty. it's
paintbrush
just it's
that
just beautiful.
it's a
Yeah, like
paintbrush
a
that
paintbrush.
just paints
I
over
love that
it
analogy.
this beautiful, bright landscape of of joy, and it's like an appreciation. It's just what someone may see as negative. No, I've
Yeah,
just
because the
painted it
infinite
over as
beings.
thank you. It's positive. It's a gift,
Yeah,
and
it, there's so much to appreciate when the infinite being appreciates everything, right?
Mhm.
I mean, from a person's perspective, they want to, you can, it's so easy to, because you're limited, and this body of flesh and this mind-made self that you have can easily be injured by a thought that comes in, right? It could injure your ego or something in your body. It could be a sickness, or you might bang your arm. It could hurt you, right?
Mm.
So you could feel that negative emotion. But when you come from the perspective of the infinite being, it's all allowing, and you're not identified with this body of flesh. You're not
That's
identified with
right.
this me and my story.
Yes.
So when you're not identified with that, you're not opening yourself up to
Yeah.
feel those negative emotions. You're embracing everything, right?
Yeah.
You appreciate who and what you are,
Yeah.
as the infinite being. So it's all allowing, and it's able to love and welcome
Yeah.
everything, and it's able
Yeah.
to let things come and let things go effortlessly. It's just all happening effortlessly for us.
Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. You don't need protection. You don't. All of those things come from the identity, what we've identified ourselves to be, which
Yes.
is not real. It's actually not real. It's
Yes.
a perceived identity that we took on from, like you said, age 2 upwards, and then we got stuck
Yeah,
there.
that's where the negative emotion comes from. And
Yeah,
like you said,
all
even
of that.
after you realize your true nature, if you find that negative emotions coming on, it's just good just to pause, because you can pause
Yeah.
a thought easily. You can just pause your thoughts and just pause it and just see, what am
Hmm.
I identifying with here? Am I identifying with Rob and his story, this me, this separate me? Let me investigate this me that I think myself to be. What is this me? What is, like, let's just pause a minute and just see, where is this me at, that I
Yes.
believe myself to be? Or there's some negative, it's kind of waking you up. Wait a second, I'm the infinite being. I'm this wide open, awake space where I allow everything, and I'm infinite love. I'm infinite joy. I'm infinite peace. It kind of wakes you up and reminds you of what you truly are and what you've always been, and what
Yeah.
all of us have always been. All of us are the same. We're
Yeah.
all that infinite being. It's just that consciousness is really disguising itself
You
in
can't find the
identifying with
me.
this me and my story.
You can't find
What
the
was
me.
that?
You can't find the me.
You can't. No, there is
You
no
can
me
keep
here. It's
looking
not
and you
here.
can't find
Where?
it.
Show it to me, Judith. I don't see it. Where is it?
You can.
Only thing I find here is this beautiful, infinite, loving
I
being
know.
that's just sitting here. This beingness that's
Yeah.
always been here and always will. That's all that's I can really say, is that I'm awake, I'm alive, and this beingness, I feel it. And when I look at and I get curious about what this beingness, I know that it can't get sick. I know that it can't die. I know that it doesn't get depressed. I know that it doesn't hate. I know that it's just impersonal. There's nothing personal about it. It's just this beautiful awake silence that's always here, no matter what's going on in the
Mm.
manifestation. It's always sitting
Mhm.
there, so peaceful, and it's all allowing. And when you look at the attributes of it, it's just beautiful because it's unlimited. It
Yeah.
doesn't get sick, it doesn't die, it doesn't get
Hmm.
depressed, it doesn't have a bad day, kind of thing. Because when you identify to me and my story with the person, you're
Yeah.
susceptible to all of that,
Yes.
to all of
Yeah.
that. So it's really true freedom. That's what it is. It's you're
Yeah.
freeing yourself from identifying with the me
Yeah.
and my story and
Which
this
was never
separation.
there
There's
at
no
all.
separation. There's no separation here.
Which was
It's
never
just
there at
this.
all. Ah,
Because the mind wants to separate everything. It wants to pull it all away and compare it and contrast it and
you
divide it
rec-
up.
you recognized that it was just a thought.
Yeah.
Me was only a thought that we
Isn't
took
it
on.
amazing how that one belief in a me and my story, that's the one thing that's like covering up what's already here, the infinite being, the effortless being. It's always sitting here. It's just kind of like, it's like getting covered up by this one thought of being this separate individual, of
Hmm.
being this separate person, of being this separate me and my story. We put all our energy into that, and it's blinding us to, what's already here. Is
Yes.
when you see through it, it's just like, that's not here. It's just this, and it's always been here, which is crazy. It's always been here, but it's just being covered up by that one belief. So if you can let go of that one belief, you're free.
Yeah.
That one belief is covering everything.
Everything. And it's with that belief, the me belief, comes so much baggage. It's like, okay, I have a name, I have an age, I have a this, I have a that, and you go from birth to death, and it's like, no, you actually don't. You
You were
actually
never
don't.
born. You were never
You were
born.
never born in the first place, and you never died. But you can't act. That's a bit. scary for a lot of people. So I don't go into that with people just yet, but because that's like, whoa, now you lost me.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's true. It's you look at people and they have ailments and what have you, and it's like because your mind is actually overriding everything, and that's
Yes.
how all of those things start to manifest because your mind has taken over. The human mind has taken over and said you are this with this age and these restrictions and these ailments, and you feel it. That's what I meant by you feel everything in your body. You have a body to feel everything through, and the most important thing is to rid the mind of that story. That's the first thing. It all comes from there. It actually all comes from the mind.
Yeah, the mind is a beautiful tool, but
Yeah,
when you identify with the mind, as being what you are, now that's where the problem comes in. The mind
yeah,
is great for manifesting things. That's what the mind does. It's going to manifest. It's going to
yes.
create your reality. It's going to create what's here. But if you're identifying with
Wrong
it
mind.
as your nature, that's when you have the problem. So you
Yes,
really got to be careful with the mind. Like the mind is a powerful tool. That's
exactly.
what it is. It's a tool. It's not what you
It's a
are. You're
tool.
not your mind. You're not your
Precisely.
mind. So if you don't
Precisely.
have to believe everything your mind's telling you,
And
you
so,
know.
exactly. And with meditation, this is why, even with meditation, a lot of people actually don't understand the value of meditation because it has been, um, in a lot of instances, it's been misused or the clarification has been misconstrued because it's like meditation is so you can actually become aware of the the wrong mind and the right mind, so to speak, because there's a difference. There's a big
Mhm.
difference. The right mind is open stillness. Actually, it's become is awareness, right? The wrong mind is that limited mind that says, "Oh, it's such and such a clock. I've got to go and cook dinner or do this or do that." And yes, there are certain limitations that we have to adhere to as a human, but it's not
Right.
running the life. It's not the you become more clear on where that identity is and your responsibilities as a human and your effortless being. So you actually that's the integration period I think that a lot of people stumble upon, that I've noticed they stumble upon and they just keep going over and over and over and over because it's like, how do I identify with all of these aspects of myself in this experience as a human? And there are a few challenges, but it's once you actually see it, or if there's someone that can actually guide you through, like yourself, or I do as well, it shows clearly how to navigate this, how to navigate through the awakening and the, coming into realization. So, yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's,
What's interesting is once you identify with the infinite, with the effortless being,
mm,
well, you notice if you're operating from effortless being, that's when your intuition comes in. Like a lot of people don't know
mm,
about your intuition
mm-hmm,
comes from your effortless being. So your intuition is like that inner knowingness, like you just know. So
yes,
when everything's as far as leading and things you should do and what you should do,
mm-hmm,
it's
mm-hmm,
just happening like effortlessly, like this, like my breathing, like I'm breathing right now, right? But I'm not sitting here consciously thinking, oh, I have to take
yes,
my next breath or I have to. It's effortless being. There's an intelligence here that's
yes,
running everything
exactly,
automatically. It's just, and it's instantaneous. It's just running it. So when you operate from intuition, when you operate from effortless being, it's a relaxed state. You allow infinite intelligence to take over and run things. It's when we
yeah,
become that separate person with the me and my story, we try to control it. And then we get all these negative emotions and we get all caught up in our mind. That's where all the stress and the
mm,
anxiety
yeah,
and the sickness and all that is coming from that. But if you can just break that identity with that
yeah.
and just rest
If you
as your true
can
nature as the
recognize the
effortless being.
difference, recognize
Yes,
that
you can
difference.
feel it. Yeah.
You can feel it. You can see it. You can feel it. Recognize that difference. You have a body to actually be able to perceive that difference. And then you just go, oh no, I can see that. And you go back to your stillness, your effortless being. Um, there was something else that I wanted to say then. I can't remember now, but it'll come.
Yeah, I just know, like, I was just thinking about earlier on when I had, I don't know if you had read the book, The Greatest Secret, that Rhonda Byrne had put out. That's when
No.
I had first heard about David Bingham, but they have a lot of teachers in there, and a lot of them,
Oh,
what they're doing is they're pointing. I should say teachers. I said I should more call them like pointers, because they're pointing to what we truly are,
yes.
which is the infinite being. And throughout that book, they did really a nice job of really pointing out, what we truly are and what our true
Mhm.
nature is as the infinite being. And I've really seen from the results of that book, because it kind of went international,
Mhm.
and it really pointed to people to wake up, that they're not this body mind, that they're not this separate person, that you are the infinite being, that you are the effortless being. And it did a nice job of doing that. I really feel like it really got out there into mass consciousness. And I know David talked about like the morph field, how you can access it, whether I'm here, you're in Australia, you're in Japan, you're in Saudi Arabia, you're in Iran, Iraq, whatever. Everyone, there's this infinite consciousness, this mass consciousness that's out there. And more people are waking up to their true nature as the effortless being, as the infinite being. And so as more and more people wake up, there's really, people are waking up more instantaneously. It could just be like a phrase, like I know for myself, when I heard David on Conscious TV say, "You are the infinite being having a human experience,"
Experience.
both that, that the identity with the person and the me and my story kind of just dropped. And I fell right into, wow, like I'm the infinite being. Like, to me, it was like waking up to that. And
Yeah.
so more and more people are doing that, as we see, as it gets into mass consciousness. People like yourself, David Farmer. I mean, people having, these YouTube channels that, that I have out there, all these different things that are out there. Um,
Mhm.
it's more and more in mass consciousness, and technology and the different things that we have now are really opening people's eyes to identify with
Yeah.
what they truly are. We really can see how infinite consciousness is really revealing itself, because we see
Mhm.
that the drama in the world, people are stepping back and saying, am I really just me in this story? Am I really this separate person? When they see this drama that's going on in the world, people start waking up and questioning it. What
Mhm.
am I really? And that's really the key question for this whole thing that
Yeah.
people come to, when they see the drama in the world and they start questioning this me and my story. They're tired of the limitations. People don't want to be limited. They're
Yes.
they're tired of they want it, because it's not resonant. They're feeling all these negative emotions. They want to know, what am I really?
Yeah.
What am I?
That's right.
I hate to say who am I, because it reminds you of being this separate person. That's why I like to
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
what am
Yeah.
I? Because
What am
what
I?
am I is, what am I really? And that's
Mhm.
the question that everyone needs to ask themselves. We can sit here and talk about it all day, but really you have to, when we talk about self-realization, it's realizing your true self for yourself and your own experience.
Yes.
And everyone can do it, because you're already that already. It's sitting right
Yes.
there. It's the
Yes.
background, it's the silence, it's the effortless being. When you ask the question, what am I really? You just sit with that. What's there? What are you feeling?
Yeah.
What do you recognize? And
That's right.
everyone right now can do that. Anyone that's listening, you just sit there and just say, what am I really?
Mhm.
And then just sit with it.
Mhm. That's the
What's
first
really, what's
question I
here right
had.
now?
That's the
Yeah.
first question I had many, many years ago.
Yes.
Like 20 years ago or something. It's like, what am I? What is this? And what am I? Actually,
Yeah.
from the time I was little. And I couldn't figure it out. I really couldn't figure it out. It's like, I can feel everything that people are feeling, quite empathic. I could feel everything. And I used to look at the situations around me and think, why are you doing that? Why would you do that? Because I could feel the discordant energy. Why would you want to manipulate somebody to get what you want? That's really silly. But I wasn't saying it. I was little and I was just looking and thinking, I actually thought I was completely invisible. I felt completely invisible. So I could actually be anywhere and I could feel everything, but I wasn't even noticed. I wasn't even noticed, which was absolutely fantastic now that I think
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, that
And
is
it was
fantastic.
it was really lovely. And but when you actually fully come into, you realize that, well, for me anyway, I just stopped putting up with that crap. It's like, I'll cut that crap, just cut the crap. And I was really intolerant for a while of the BS. And I had to actually even come into that recognition of, oh well, if you want to play that game, play it, but it's not not here, and not with me, because it's like it just won't work with me. And so and I can just move along, but without judgment or anything. It's like, yeah, you want to still play that, you can play that, but not here. And I have, more interesting things to do. So, and that's how I kind of moved along and navigated that. But
Yeah, I mean that's beautiful. At such a young age that you could see how infinite consciousness
yeah,
was
but I didn't
was
know
working
that.
there for you. Yeah, you
But I
didn't know
didn't
it,
know
but
that
yet
it was that.
you had this inclination, that you've seen all these things at such a young age, but you didn't know exactly what it was, but it was
Yeah.
there, right there in the background the whole time
Yeah,
for you,
yeah, because I
which
was
is
really
beautiful.
playful and creative and all of that, and
Yeah.
I couldn't see the point of all this rigid, forced way of being. It's like, no, you have to fit into this tiny mold, with school and whatever. You have to fit into this mold. And I saw the same thing happen with my son when he went to school, and they would
Yeah.
say, no, he has a problem. He has to actually fit in with what we need him to fit in with. I said, give him more work because he's bored. Clearly, he's bored. He could read
Yeah.
and do everything, so he was just playing, and whispering to the person next to him and disturbing. So the teacher would say he's disturbing. I'd say, well, give him something more to do. He's bored with what you're giving, what you're doing.
Yeah.
So, but he's really creative as well. But he's got a balance of both, which is lovely.
Does he
So
like art?
he's a graphic designer,
Oh, nice.
as well as he does, business side of things as well. So he has two things going, which is great. And
Yeah,
music,
that's fantastic.
when he was little, he wanted to play rock guitar, and it's like, okay. So I sent him off with his guitar to teacher, and the teacher was playing. He was teaching him all the scales and whatever they had to, and he was completely bored. He goes, "Mom, I don't like this." So, so actually, then he wanted to play rock guitar straight away. So, and I couldn't make him understand that. And I thought, no point, he'll just get bored with it and put it aside.
Mm.
So I found someone that was more um, intuitive and understood where he was coming from, because his cousins, older cousins, Joshua's older cousins, were guitarists and musicians, and and all of that. So he wanted to be like them, you know. He looked up to them and he wanted to be the same. So I sent him to a guitar teacher, and he thrived. So he can play guitar and drums and all kinds of things.
Nice.
But yeah, whether they use it or not is irrelevant. It's like you want, as the infinite being, you want to experience everything in life. You want to experience
Yes.
life.
You love life.
You
You
love
love it.
life, and you want to have the experience. Oh, I'd like to go with that and have a go, do it.
It's
You
funny you
don't
say that because
need that.
after I recognized I was you recognize your true nature as the infinite being. It's
Yeah,
like you have this freedom, and I've been doing things I don't normally do. Like I'd go on that trip, I would go experience that thing, I would go do that surfing, I would go to that beach, I would go
yep,
out on that boat and border ski or whatever. Like you do things that you normally like. When you're the infinite being, you have that more of that freedom. To like
yeah,
you don't have those limitations anymore. You kind of just you go with it, you go for it,
yeah.
and you
You don't
experience life because you love life so much.
you don't
You
put
love being
limitations on
joyful,
yourself.
you love being happy, you just
Yeah,
love it all. So you go out and you go for it. It's
exactly,
beautiful.
exactly. You don't impose
The freedom.
limitations on anyone. So it does not.
No.
You don't have to be a famous musician. I don't have to be a famous artist. It's like, if
Yeah.
I feel like painting, I will paint. If I want to teach, I will teach. If I want to go and sing somewhere, I'll go and sing. And
Go for it. Yeah. You
whatever.
want to go do karaoke? You're gonna go out there and go do some karaoke, right? Come on, let's
It's
go do some
fun.
karaoke.
It's so fun. I know it is so
Yeah, you make it
so
fun.
much fun.
And then you were saying, like, as parents, like, it's I think one of the best gifts parents can give their children is freedom, right? Like, give them freedom, right? Because that's our true nature is infinite freedom.
Yes.
So give them freedom. I think it's the best gift. Like you were talking about how you give them your kid freedom and stuff like that. It's the best thing you can give your child,
I
because that's
think
their
so.
true nature. They really flourish in that,
Yes, I think
because
give them
that's what
freedom
they
to
are.
experience everything and see what it is they
Yes.
like, and they have a
Yes.
go, have a go at it all.
Yeah. Have a go. Yes. Like you said, no judgments,
No judgment.
freedom, freedom to try this and that. Go
Yeah.
for it.
And you don't have to
There's a
do your
relaxation in it.
best and this and that. No, there's no such thing as
Yeah.
do your best. You just have
No.
fun. Have fun.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. People say, well, what do you think the purpose of life? What do you think this whole thing's about? I said, really, it's to have fun and enjoy life. I
Yeah.
mean, you're the infinite being. You're all loving. You're kind. I go out and have a laugh, like have some fun with life. That's what we're here for, to
Yes.
enjoy the journey, right? You're here to enjoy life. You're the infinite being. You're all allowing. You're all loving. You're all joyful. You're all happy. Do
Yeah.
do what makes you feel good. Follow your bliss. Like
Yeah.
go for it. Enjoy life. I mean, the human experience can be beautiful too. There's a lot of beautiful things
Yes.
that happen in the
Right?
human experience, that as the infinite being, you can choose to experience those things, and
That's
they're
right.
beautiful.
And you don't have to take from anyone else or anywhere else. It is
No.
all there for everyone.
Right.
You become so kind and so generous with everything and everyone that it's because it's there, because you can see that it is limitless for everyone. Why would I want
Mhm.
to, hold back and be selfish, or all of that is like, ugh.
And really, that helps with relationships too. Like I've noticed that too. Like people want to be around that kind of
Mm,
spirit. People want to be around that kind of energy. Like
yeah.
where the person is not judgmental. They're fun. They're upbeat. They're an uplifter. Right? Isn't that what the infinite
Yes.
being is? It's all allowing. It's loving. It's appreciative. It's happy. It's joyful. Like that's beautiful energy to be like. People are attracted to that, and then you attract that kind of people in your life too, and situate, and things would manifest that way too,
Hmm, hmm.
when you're coming from that space.
Yeah, well, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes,
Mhm.
like I noticed that there was someone who was jealous and wanted to pull me down to, it's like, you can't be happy, you can't tell jokes, you can't. It's like, yes, I can. I'm not really good at telling jokes, but I'll tell them. Because you're not precious about all this stuff. It's like you can just be whatever. If you're with someone who just wants to blow your candle out, well, that's not the person to be with. You need to move on. It's like, thank you
Yeah,
very much.
that can come. Yeah, I've noticed that too. That can come into your space, but what I've noticed is if I don't focus on it, if I
Yeah,
don't give it any energy, it kind of just evaporates pretty quickly. So some of
yeah,
that stuff might come into my space, but
yes,
I just don't focus on it. I just
yeah,
focus on, there's so many other beautiful things to
yeah,
focus on, and that kind of just takes care of it. Kind of washes out
yeah.
evenly. It's
It
anything that we
just
focus on, we give
it goes
energy
away.
to. So yeah, it's no sense even
It goes
focusing.
away.
Just stay with. There's so many positive things to focus on, that those
Mhm.
things tend to just evaporate because it's being swallowed up by all the positivity, if you will, or all
I
the
think so.
beautifulness of life.
I think
Yeah.
so, and that comes for me. That's the perspective shift. So when you
Yeah.
look at everything from the perspective of, oh, that's it's great, it's great. It can be there, it cannot be there, whatever. I'm not disturbed by it, like you were just. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're not
Right.
disturbed by it, so it just walks away or goes away
Yeah,
because,
it washes away. Yeah.
mm, yeah,
It's
right.
beautiful how that works, isn't it?
It
I love
is. It is. It finds someone else that it can attach to
that.
and drain. It's not. It's like, oh, that's like Teflon here.
Yeah. That's
So,
beautiful.
thank you. This has been wonderful. A lovely conversation again.
Oh yes, I love speaking with you. I love your energy.
Thank you. Thank you. And
Mhm.
your just the joy that you've been sharing on there is infectious too.
Yes, yes. Yeah, my thing is, like, I just hope more and more people wake up to the true nature, because it's so freeing. It's infinite.
Yeah.
It's true freedom. It's true happiness, and I just love talking about self-realization and what our true nature is as the infinite being, because there's so much happiness that's there for everyone. Everyone's that already. If they could just
Yeah.
realize it, they could even amend, the life experience that they're having for betterment.
Correct.
To
Yes.
enjoy life.
And
Yes,
it's
there's so many
more
benefits.
fun for everyone. It's more fun for
Yes.
everyone. For
Yeah, it
all of us.
is.
It's more fun.
Yes.
So let's all wake up
Fun.
um, and
Have some
have a
fun.
joyous life.
Yeah. Why not? That's what we're here for, to have fun, enjoy life. So
Yeah.
much to appreciate, so much to enjoy.
Well, thank you, Robert.
Thank you. So
Thank
nice speaking with
you.
you again.
So before you go away, I'll just will say thank you to the audience who enjoyed this video. We hope it was helpful to everyone, and we'll
Yes.
certainly link our websites and our information at the bottom for everyone. So
Sounds good.
thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you, everybody.